What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter from Panda here, and I've got a Fiat 500 update for you. Alright guys, so this Fiat 500 is probably more popular than me. It's been on the channel here for 7 crazy years, and just love this car. Drove it all day yesterday. Hey, I wanted to give you an update on it because now I'm trying to kind of figure out what to do. When I did my 5-year update, when I did it at the 5-year mark, I said, well, this might be my last year with it. And then it turned out I did a 6-year review, and I said, well, at 6 years, I might be doing something with it, kind of trading it in or get something else. And then come for 7 years, I was like, well, you know what? I've had it for 7 years now. It's been a trooper, and it's been awesome, and I will probably just continue to hold on to it and drive it until the wheels fall off. But what ended up happening is that I've always really liked another car, and not a new car, but the Audi A4, the B7 model, which I think was like something like 2003 or 2004 to 2008, and I always really liked that. And so they didn't make a lot of them in gray for whatever reason, or what I found is a lot in gray but in manual transmissions. I didn't want that, but an alert went off and said that, hey, there is a gray one in an automatic and a lower mileage, in fact lower mileage than my Fiat, and it's available for sale. And what I did was I ended up buying it, so I have that car now. I really like it, and now they actually came in a couple of grays, and this was actually not my preferred gray. This is, I think it's called quartz gray. They had a little bit darker gray, and as you can see, this gray versus my Fiat gray, it's a little lighter, maybe even a little more on the blue scale. But nonetheless, I really like it, and I thought I'd tell you a little bit about why I like this car so much. First of all, when they came out with the redesigned A4, it was just a little blocky, and the one right before this, even though this is just mostly a reskin and it's basically just a facelifted version, what I think they did on this is that they incorporated some of the more modern Audi language, kind of that big mouth grill up here in the front. That was kind of a slimmer grill, and then a slimmer grill at the bottom, and then split by a color matched bumper in the middle. So this had the kind of the more modern Audi style big grill. And then on the headlights and the taillights here, you can see we've got a little bit of a dip here. They kind of did a little cross-eyed thing on the headlights, and I actually really like that, and that's because this car is really small, and you'll notice that in the back seat. And when we do a full review on this car, I'll get into that. But what I like about that is it's just kind of like my Fiat. When it's a small car, just embrace that and use that in the design language. Don't try to make a car look bigger than it is, if you don't need to. Basically, what I think they always try to do, and automakers do, is they take small car design, try to put big car elements in it and make it feel bigger. Chevy did that with the Aveo and whatnot, and I think it just did not work. And so, and even the Spark and some of that. But what they did here, by bringing the lights a little more sculpted, kind of a little bit of cross-eyed even, they actually shrunk the width on the car visually, and that actually works for this car. It's got kind of an upright, almost like a I guess like kind of like a fish. If the car feels really narrow, and it is a pretty narrow car, and so I like the fact that they just embrace it instead of trying to put a lot of horizontal elements to make it feel wider than it really is. They did the same thing, and there was basically the other major change was on the back here, where these tail lights also have a little bit of a dip here. They're not cross-eyed like in the front, but instead of having a wide rear light bar on it, again, it kind of helps make it a little more vertical, and I think that actually works really well. And I just overall like the style, and what you can see even here on these tail lights is that they're very flush, even more so than almost any other modern car. And why I like that so much is it gives the car kind of a muscular look. So many times automakers take tail lights and they kind of bevel the edge around the light or on the metal or the body skin there, and they try to accentuate the light and use that as a really distinct part of the design. But in this case, it's almost so flush it kind of looks like a decal applied to a NASCAR to simulate a light. So I really liked everything about this. Now the style is maybe getting a little dated, and the Audis have been updated with a little more like angular lines on a lot of ways, but in many ways, for a car of this vintage, when you look at cars from 2004 to 2008, whether it's the BMW or the Chevys or whatnot, they just have a little bit of more tired and dated look than this, and especially with the new wheels, I think that helps a lot. So this is a car I've always really wanted. To be honest, I like when they kind of black out the the trim on these, and some of them they had that instead of a lot of chrome. They had black around here. And I think that was basically the S-line models or the sport models. And the front bumper, the lower front fascia was a little bit different. Instead of the kind of that smiling line here, they kind of have a frowning line on some of those. Again, I think those were better, in my opinion, or at least more me. But what this does here is it gets me a car I've kind of been looking for a while. And like I said, just because of the age, you can't find these with low mileage often. Now, that being said, I have 2 cars here, which I could use for my daily driver, and I don't really have enough parking spots for everything. So I think the Fiat is going to go. It's probably not a decision I'm going to make here in the next day or two, or even the next week or two. But what I will probably do is kind of finish up some of the things. I will show you that on the channel here, kind of the custom touches that I'd really like to do on this, and then probably start daily driving that and kind of figure out what I want to do here. So looking forward to it. This is an older car. The Audi's an older car, but with less mileage, if that makes any sense to you. So just wanted to give you an update and welcome Audi to the family, and probably saying goodbye finally after 7+ years to Fiat von Panda. Peter von Panda out.